Hello everyone, welcome to Life in All Its Beauty. My name is Marianne and today I am making a scrap yarn scarf. So I figured that I'd just sit and chat while I crochet, and the kitty came by. I think she would like to say hi. Can you say hi, Rosie? Can you say hi? So today I'm making a scrap yarn scarf and I'm using balls of worsted weight yarn that I've got lying around that I don't have projects for, and I finished the projects for already, so I'm just trying to use up a lot of that extra stash, especially since it's the beginning of the year. My goal this year is to work through a lot of the stash that I have and make a lot of room for new balls of yarn. So trying to finish up this scarf pretty quick. It's not taking me that long. It's a pretty simple, quick construction. So I'm using worsted weight yarn with a size J hook, or 6mm if that's what you prefer to measure your hooks by. It's double crochet, back loop only, so it creates the sort of ribbed effect, and I could show you that right here. So you can kind of see closer up. As you can tell, I haven't woven my ends in yet, and definitely will need to be blocked. I'm not sure if I'll put a border on the sides. I might, but I probably won't because I think that would look probably a little goofy. But we'll see when we get there. That's the beauty about these kinds of scarves, is you just kind of freehand it, see what looks good, and undo it if you don't like it, right? So the pattern that I'm using is just freehand sort of a thing. It's 3 rows of my main black color, and then 1 to 4 rows of whatever yarn I've got lying around. I'm using specifically like blues, either regular blue to like a navy blue, or I've got some maroon here. So I've got 2 balls of that I'm working through, and then creams, browns. I've got this one that's kind of flecked, a tan flecked yarn that I think is really pretty. Here I've got a navy blue that I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to finish up, and then this red ball here that I'd like to finish up as well, but I probably won't because I've just got too much of it. And then I've also got 2 rows of purple in here as well that I don't have any more of this yarn. It was just a tiny little bit that I had. And as you could see earlier, it was short little pieces too. So there were 3 pieces of this yarn that I put into this row. And then down here at the other end, there's 3 pieces in this one as well. So it's definitely interesting, and will be interesting as I weave in all those little ends there. But I think it'll turn out really nice. I've got about 30 rows left, and then I'll be done with the scarf. I'm going to probably put some tassels on the end and see how that looks. And one of the things about crocheting for a long time is that you do rack up a lot of yarn, and it's really easy to, especially if you go, shopping, yarn shopping a lot, or if people give you a lot of yarn, which is how I got most of my yarn throughout the years. Was I would get yarn for my birthday, for Christmas, or older ladies at church would not be able to knit or crochet anymore, so they would give me their stash, or people that I knew would stop, just they didn't want to keep crocheting or knitting. It wasn't that they couldn't, they just didn't want to anymore, so they would give me extra yarn that they had, and it just grew. To be honest, I got a lot of yarn gifted to me, and it was really fun, but I also couldn't keep up with all that yarn. When I moved out to college, I moved halfway across the country, and so I couldn't take all of the yarn that I wanted, so I ended up just taking about a box worth, and then gathered more yarn, as the years went by. It was 2 years while I was in college, and then the years since I've graduated. And I did buy quite a bit of yarn for a temperature blanket that I did for 2021. And that I used up quite a bit of that yarn, but I've still got some extras left. Like you can see here, this big ball of maroon that I was using. I've got quite a bit of that left, even though I opted for a smaller, I think it was red heart, but I opted for a smaller red heart ball. It's still, because this was my hottest color, I didn't use it all that much, so I ended up with quite a bit left of that. But some of the other colors I did use up more of, which was nice. So I'm trying to use up all of this yarn, and I think I've got some really nice projects that I've got in mind. I've got a yarn machine, one of those Centro, I think it's 40 pins that I got. A knitting machine. It's a circle that you just like crank the handle and it'll go around and knit for you. So I've got one of those coming at the end of January. So I'm hoping to be able to learn how to use that and use up a lot of the yarn that I've got to make like baby hats and panels for other various projects. And I think that'll be very good, especially the hats, for using up a lot of the yarn that I've got. And then I'd also like this year to learn how to knit. I've got very basic knowledge. I think I can do like I don't know what stitch it is, but the very basic, you know, stick the needle in, yarn over, and pull it through. I don't know which stitch that is. I learned it years and years ago, and I know how to do it, but I don't know what it's called. So I know how to do that, but I would like to learn how to do other stitches, and we'll see if I'm able to do that this year. It's a goal of mine, but if I can't do it this year, that's okay. I can always try again next year or the year after that until I finally learn it. I am excited about that knitting machine, though. I think it'll be a lot of fun to be able to learn that new form of yarn creativity. And even though the actual knitting itself is done by a machine, it will still, especially if I'm putting together sweaters and whatnot, it'll still, you know, require me to use my brain and creativity for coming up with patterns for that sort of thing. Something I'm very bad at is following patterns, which is why I'm probably going to be making up my own patterns. For the most part, I mean, especially as I'm learning, like for my plans to learn how to knit, I probably need to follow patterns, but I can guarantee you probably as soon as I feel fairly confident enough to be able to do it without the pattern, I'm just gonna not do it with the pattern. I find it's more fun that way, and I can create things that are a little more customized to myself. If I'm trying to learn the construction of something, for example, like learning how to make a sweater, then I definitely need to at least have a base knowledge of how to do it, what pieces I'll need, different techniques, you know, how much I need to increase, decrease, where I should be doing that, etc. But once I have that kind of base understanding of the construction of whatever I'm working on, then I feel like I'm pretty confident with working on whatever I want to without needing a pattern. But I feel like with knitting, it's a lot harder to do that too. Crochet is very easy to freehand stuff with. So I'm not sure how that'll work out as I start learning how to knit, but we'll see. And my plan is to document that as I learn how to do it. So look forward to that. And I'm wrapping up on the third row of black here that I started off with. So I don't know that I've shown you the full thing yet. There's kind of a good look at it. It's a little twisted, but that's how long it is, and I'd like it to be a little bit longer, I think. I like to wrap my scarves around more, so I live up north where it's a little chilly. So I'm getting there. I've got, it's not too many rows left, and then I'll be done. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week. Bye!